Before we get started with today's video, I just want to let you guys know that I finally started up an account on Twitch where I'll be live streaming the Reignited Trilogy on Xbox One when it finally releases in a few days. So, be sure to click the link down in the description below and be sure to follow me there to keep updated till then. With that said, let's get started on today's video. Okay, so today we have a bunch of new images shown off on Twitter for the Reignited Trilogy, and starting things off, we have here one of the robots from Robotica Farms from Spyro 2, looking an awful lot like a robotic farmer from Futurama, if I say so myself. Like, look at that. Tell me that does not look like a robot farmer you would see on that show. All joking aside, though, everything else about it looks really fine. Hell, even the robot I still actually really like. I didn't really mean what I said earlier to be as like an insult to the design. If anything, I actually am welcoming of it. But everything else, like I said, looks really good. Still captures the feeling of it being a live farm mixed with a lot of robotic technology. So, good on you there. Now, moving on, we have Bentley over here for the first time in-game. Well, not in movement, but... Oh, speaking of movement, I should mention that, much like with Agent 9, it looks like they actually are making him move a bit faster and smoother than he did in the original, which I'm hoping they do, because I still personally stand by Bentley's stages and minigames are among my least favorite in the original Spyro 3, so I'm hoping they've tweaked those to make it a lot more fun and enjoyable. But everything else about it, like, I can tell this is his first level, like the one you play after you unlock him, just because of the fact that it's snowing and whatnot. But looking at him in game, yeah, he looks freaking adorable here, if I do say so myself. I do like the design of his club being more clearly made out of like crystallized ice. That looks really nice. It looks, I don't know if it's just me, but it looks a little bigger than it did before. But that's not really a bad thing. I'm really hoping he plays a lot better in the game than he did before. Now, moving on, we have yet another shot from Spyro 3, this time of the cat wizards from the level Enchanted Towers, and it actually looks pretty cool. I like the illuminating glow that comes off when they're about to cast a spell or whatnot. And Enchanted Towers, I will say, definitely looks really good. Looks even more colorful than it did in the original game. I'm not gonna lie, it looks more colorful. I think the skybox could use just a little more color to match with that, but that's not really too much of a bad thing because everything else still looks good. I love the windmill. I love the plant light growing on that thing. It looks really good. So, moving on, from another shot from Spyro 3, we have Lost Fleet, which I still stand by. While it's definitely not one of my least favorite levels, it's not one of my personal favorites either. A lot of that comes down to the song being basically just a alternative version of Sheila's theme, and I'm not a big fan of the submarine minigame. Everything else about it is fine, though. I like the inhabitants. I still like the skateboarding minigame, even though that one can be a little tricky at times. It's still a lot of fun. And everything else about it, I like the way they made it look more clearly like it was once originally a sea, but now it looks like it's just gone. It's gone, man. It's gone. Nothing but sand and acid and coral life everywhere. I really like that. So now we have another shot finally from Spyro 2, this one being of Canyon Speedway. And oh boy, does it look really cool. I like the fact that this time the ram enemies look almost similar to the ram enemies from the level Stone Hill from Spyro 1. Like I said, almost. Their horns are maybe a little bit bigger and their designs are a little different, but they look almost similar. Everything else about it looked cool. I don't know if I made it very clear before, but I do love the illuminating effect from things like fire and lava in this game. It looks beautiful as all hell. And the skybox is just right. The colors are, once again, they pop in a way that matches but improves upon from the original. So, moving on, we now finally have our first in-game shot of Dragon Shores. Well, not a lot of it, but you know that's essentially what it is. I love the freaking skybox. Like, I don't know if I made it clear before, but the colors in this game, they just look so good. A lot of the times. There are some times when it can be a little bit off, but for the most part, it looks really promising. We have up there, I like that they changed it from being basically stone statues of actual dragons and instead made it golden statues of the crystallized dragons from Spyro 1, which is Honestly, not only a really cool change, but I think it's also fitting of the fact that the workers here are reformed orcs. Norks, I meant. Sorry, I tend to get those two mixed up sometimes. But, moving on here, we have yet another shot of Enchanted Towers, this time getting a little bit more of a look at the Rhinox in this level, the Knight and the Archers, and they look pretty dang cool if I do say so myself, and I do really like the fact that there's a lot more plant life growing around the buildings and architecture and whatnot. I think that's really cool, and the snowy mountains are a really good touch there, especially since there's a mini game involving you climbing a mountain to reach a golden goose. I'm not making that up. So yeah, not too much else I could say about this that I haven't said about the last one. So let's move on to the final image, which is finally our first in-game look of one of the bosses from Spyro 3. This one being Spike, the second boss, who is probably, at least in terms of challenge, my personal favorite one of Spyro 2, purely because he's very aggressive, his projectiles follow you at fast speeds, but it never really felt too unfair to me. If anything, this is one where I'm kind of proud, but still a little shy to admit. This is one of the few Spyro bosses that every time, even when I play it now as an adult, he nearly whoops me every time. And I cannot wait to relive that again in the Reignited Trilogy for my own torture and pleasure. So, going through all this about does it for the new images. Maybe there's going to be more coming out soon, I don't know, but if there are, I'll definitely do a video of that as well. These will probably be among the last Spyro related videos that I'll be doing until the Reignited Trilogy comes out, which not only will I be streaming those on my Twitch account, but I'll also be doing a sort of review of the game a few weeks later. So that's what I basically have planned for the next few weeks leading up to the game's release. Oh, well, not leading up to, but after the game's release. So, yeah, I'm King Gargantuous, and I'll see you all next time.